Hey everybody, this is Francesco Abbruzzino with the Uncensored Report. Retail apocalypse. What do you think about that? It's a term that I first heard last year when they were talking about the demise of many retail locations. And it was startling. Some of the numbers that were coming out were impressive, to say the least. Not in a positive manner. But, you look at this. When I think retail apocalypse, I look at here in Venice, we got the Kmart's. It's being rebuilt by Benderson. You have, if you drive up towards Sarasota on the left-hand side by Bird Bay there, you got the new Publix going in. And these were retail outlets that were essentially dead, and they're coming back to life. But when they talk about this at the national level, it's more of the national stores that are being hit and how the phrase retail apocalypse seems to fit the, one article said, the gravity of the situation, because all these businesses are going under. Their demise is out there. They're being, closings are shattering all-time records. Last year, 2017 was a record. It was a single-year record, and that's where they got retail apocalypse. But this year, it's even shattering that. And they're projecting up to 9,000 retail locations could close by this time within a year, okay? And the total, the total number is up, and they're putting at, they usually look at this stuff by square feet. 77 million square feet of retail space will be given up. Let me repeat that, 77 million. Bloomberg came out there and they said that the shifts to internet shopping and are just adding to that internet woe. Leading to the retailer debt woes out there, and we're going to start to see the demise of retail locations where you can have physically walk in to that location. And they're wondering out loud, they're opining, what will be the next great debacle that will upset Wall Street, upset the financial markets out there. And they're looking at this retail concern, this retail projects that are out there that are going belly up, and who will be left holding the bag? And it's if you factor in something like that, you factor in something like the housing bubble that we're in now, like just similar to 2008, I think it was, where the housing prices were hyperinflated and people had to use arms to be able to get in and buy a house. Now the rates are going up and those arms are going up, and they're like, wow, wait a second, why is my monthly rent up? I didn't realize with an arm that my interest increased with the interest rate, and now I owe $1,200 a month instead of $800 a month, and we start seeing the foreclosures and all that good stuff. Not good. All that stuff, I should say. But you got the major media. You got that number that's coming out, the 4%. You got major media out there saying, hey, it looks great. The economy's flowing along. And you would think so. You think that people got their jobs, unemployment is low, although there's concern with the quality of the jobs. But other factors are having issues, and when you look at the culmination of them all, it's starting to concern some people, especially when you start talking about businesses and shutting down retail locations. You all remember last week I did a rant. I could put the link up on here. It was a report on how 51 million residents households within the United States basically cannot afford rent or food. And what a travesty was, because the middle class is basically being eroded away. They're being systematically destroyed. They're no longer around where that wage gap continues to grow. And I'll look for that rant and I'll put a link on with this. But if you look at just some of the major retailers that are closing, it's impressive to say the least. Abercrombie & Fitch, 60 stores charted to close. That's a lot. Okay, only 4, if you look at Aerosols, only 4 of their 88 stores are definitely remaining open. American Apparel, they filed for bankruptcy, closing all their stores. CVS, they've closed 70 stores. One was right here in Nokomis. And I guess a lot of them are still viable and on the chopping block. Foot Locker, 110 stores will be closed shortly. The Limited, 250 locations were closed as they try to go digital. Payless, 800 stores this year. Filing for bankruptcy, they're closing them all. Route 21, 400 stores this year. And the list goes on and on. I'm looking at this list and I'm like, oh my God, it's so many. Wet Seal, never heard of them, but 171 stores will close. And like a lot of people are blaming Amazon. They're blaming the online shopping. But one thing I found out by reading another article is that online shopping isn't having the impact that I thought it was, and that perhaps you guys think it is. That they only account for 10% of the entire retail industry, which I thought was amazing. I thought it was a lot higher than that, the way the stuff I see out there, but it's not. And so they're looking at what if it's not that Amazon factor, then what is it? What kind of financial drain is coming out of these companies where people aren't shopping? Is it the rents are too high? I don't know what it is, but it's concerning a lot of individuals. Why are these locations closing? And it's not just retail. It's places like Subway. Subway is planning on shutting down 500 locations. Now, when I was a little kid, they were great. They seem to have some problems ever since Food Babe discovered that chemical for rubber was in their sandwich bread, which they got rid of. But ever since then, they've been going downhill. How about banks? Bank of America. They're closing up to between June of 2016 and June of 2017. They closed 1,700 banks. But that number is even worse if you factor in what we have on the island. Okay, the island of Venice. I go to the Bank of America. They used to have a drive-up. No more. There's no drive-up there anymore, just ATM. Inside, there used to be 2, maybe 3 reps, tellers. Now there seems like 1 all the time. Sometimes I'll see 2, but generally 1. And so we're starting to see it there, too. Who knows? Maybe we'll have another bank bailout, right? At the expense of the taxpayers. Because the banks are always there for us, right? Yeah. Okay. But they're saying this is the biggest decline ever for banks closing up shop. And they're wondering if the U.S. economy was in such good shape, why is all this taking place? Is something really big happening? Something we're not aware of? Something that we can't see? Is this the tip of the iceberg? It makes you wonder. What say you? This has been Francesco Abbruzzino with the Uncensored Report.